Jamal Niaz here with the legend himself, Dylan Postl at For the Love of Wrestling with Monopoly Events. How amazing is it nerding out with the fans and reflecting on some memories, just like me and you were. You were part of my first ever live wrestling experience, SmackDown and ECW tour back in 2007.
So you told me that as I was signing some stuff a few minutes ago, and that made me think of I know I've been here. I know I've been to Manchester, as my old-ass hearing aid keeps buzzing. I know I've been to Manchester for sure multiple times, but obviously London was always the main stop. And I was like, man, and then you brought that memory up. I was like, it was that tour. And then there was, you mentioned there was a DX.
Yeah.
We definitely did that here too. Man, this is great. I haven't been to the UK in years now. Post release, I was, I think, 3 times, but I haven't been here in years, and so to return back over here is awesome. I'm so excited. I'm still excited to be here, but I'm so excited this week, just getting ready and be like, man, the travel's gonna suck, but I'm so pumped to actually get back over to the UK, and it's just fun. It's different. It's a different feeling. You guys bring a different love for wrestling, as cliche as that is this weekend, than anywhere else. So it's awesome to be here.
And hearing how you have been a part of fans' specific favourite moments, hearing those interactions with the fans, that must be so special, because it's a time of reflection, weekends like this, and an appreciation for what you've done and your appreciation for the fans' love for you as well.
So I was talking to Dolph. His name's fucking Dolph. That's what I call him. My phone is Dolph.
We can't call him Nick.
I can't. I don't know his social security number. I'm not going to call him his real name. I was telling him a few weeks ago, and because he's never really done independents and signings and that kind of thing. I said, you do these signings, and what really hits me is when I do these signings and these conventions, it's people that really love us, really support us. When WWE has the WrestleMania Access or the signings there, they're there. They're just there for whoever. It could be me or JTG or Shelton Benjamin or anyone. But here they're coming for me. They're coming to support me and us and Mandy and Lita and Trish and Rikishi and all these guys on this event. They're coming to support us, which is so different of a feeling, and getting more time with fans and to really, like you said, reflect. And I have a horrible memory. So when you bring up stuff like you did about that show, it's it really makes me think about okay, I have been here for certain things. It's great. I love it, man. I love doing these. This is my life. And I say on my podcast, Going Postl, check out the podcast, Going Postl Podcast, wherever you download your favorite podcasts. I say it all the time on there and in my video diaries on my YouTube page. Life is good. And it's like a thing I truly feel, and especially with conventions like this, life is good. I'm getting brought over to the UK to sign my fake name. It's pretty awesome. Not many people can say that. So I love it.
100%. And that time with you and Finlay, beginning in 2006, particularly I got into wrestling in 2007, and that whole character that you portrayed alongside Finlay was incredible and part of some of my favourite memories growing up. The Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania 23, that must have been the most painful spot of your career. Was it not? With the Kenton bomb?
Yeah, man. So I talk about it in my book, and it was supposed to be a power bomb, and I'm very glad it wasn't, because it wouldn't have been nearly as big. It was supposed to be a power bomb just off the ladder. I'm climbing, and he comes under me and power bombs me off it. I'm so glad we didn't do that. And we went with the Kenton bomb. And man, that's the memory. You were talking memories, and that's the one that will always to fans, because it's the first big thing I ever did, and especially my first Mania moment. And so that one is and it holds a special place in my heart, because Ken trained me, Ken got me my job, all of that. So for us to do that spot on the biggest show of the year was awesome. Especially I was 20 years old. I was a kid. I was a child, legitimate child at heart. And being able to do it at WrestleMania was incredible.
And what was your relationship like with Finlay that you developed during that time? That must have been a really special relationship.
It still to this day, I text him Happy Father's Day on Father's Day. He's like a father figure to me, and he always was. From day one, literally from day one, he was a father figure to me. Took care of me, watched over me. When I was getting out of line, give me that kick in the ass that I needed. He's the best. He's the man. I owe everything to him. I wouldn't be where I am today, being able to still sign my fake name if it weren't for him. And he went to bat for me a lot too. And I owe everything to him.
And we mentioned briefly as well that hilarious story where you're on a European tour and obviously you're going to come from underneath the ring, but jet lag set in. You working 4 or 5 shows a week, and you took a little nap under the ring and missed your cue when Undertaker was waiting for you.
Might have been a little overserved the evening before. Not, of course, no fault of mine. Was a tad jet lagged. I'll blame that. Yeah, it's a funny thing where Finlay thought I was knocked out. He thought one of the board or the beams under the ring hit me and knocked me out. No, I was just sleeping. I was comfortable under the ring. I could sleep for hours under there. And the pyro would normally. So if I had to get loaded under the ring before the show, the opening pyro would always wake me up. Didn't that night, and it was just I was out. I was just tired. That's what I say. I was tired. And then I woke up. I remember waking up and seeing Finlay looking at me. And I'm going, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And then him throwing me in the ring, and Undertaker was selling, because then he always would sit up and choke me for the choke slam. And I'm getting in the ring, and I'm looking at Undertaker, who was waiting for me for what seemed like 5 minutes, and it was probably 30 seconds, but to me it was 5 minutes. And I'm in the ring going, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's a moment that we still talk about to this day.
And didn't you have to go and get him a gift to try and make up for it? How intimidating is having to say sorry to Undertaker?
Between that and I was late for the bus, at least once a tour, and so that was between the sleeping in the match and being late for the bus. I was always, man. I was a kid. Literally, I was just a child. I did not think about what I was doing, but it was fun. Like, he always took it with a grain of salt because I was young, and I was young and dumb, as I say. But he was great. He always was awesome to me, and always we would play cards. And once he realized that I could play cards, we would play gin a lot and just have fun. He was great.
And what about that time with DX as well, getting to work with Triple H and Shawn Michaels at the pinnacle of the career, massively established as 2 of the best wrestlers and most legendary wrestlers of all time? That must have been a pinch me moment for a kid growing up in the Attitude Era where DX were huge.
That was my era. My era was the Attitude Era. People say that all the time. That's the best era of all time. Yeah, but how many of those people were like, that was them, that was their teenage years. That was my teenage years, was the Attitude Era, was DX. So when I got told I was going to be working with him, it was like, oh, this is going to be great. And then immediately, it's funny because he's here this weekend, I was like, I'm X-Pac. I'm X-Pac. I'm in the middle for the pyro. I'm going to jump for the pyro. And then I realized I get to do DX pyro. And that was another whole just kick in the ass of, oh, this is even better. And then they gave me glow sticks to throw, and I can throw these glow sticks at parents that aren't paying attention. And I was just whipped. I talk about it all the time. I would find parents who are on their phones or just not paying attention. I would huck these glow sticks right at those parents not paying attention. And I was so good after a while, because especially overseas tours, it was like the next tier, and I would just whip them. Oh, it made me so happy. It just made me happy to hit these parents that weren't paying attention to their kids having fun. But yeah, like, I got to do DX Pyro. I have a photo in my office of me in the middle of Shawn Michaels and Triple H, in the middle of the ring, doing DX Pyro. I would have never thought that would have happened.
And you mentioned that your son is now a massive pro wrestling fan. What's it like seeing his love grow and then him understanding how pivotal you were in the industry and still are in the industry?
I don't know about that one. Damn, man. That's something I don't ever think about. I don't know if he ever thinks about, because I'm just dad. He loves it. He loves wrestling. He loves everything about wrestling. It's scary how good he is at 14 already, and he's not even really training. He's just he goes to our school and just has fun. But he's good, and he gets it. It's interesting. I never thought it would happen. I'm very glad it is. I'm very, very lucky to have an awesome kid like I do, who's just loving wrestling and supporting what I do, supporting me coming over here and missing life things, still to this day. But he gets it. He gets it. Dad doesn't have the normal 9 to 5. Dad has a different job. Dad's always had a different job. But he loves it. And seeing, like, I was talking about it with SoCal Val earlier. He loves Darby Allin. And to see his connection and his love of Darby Allin, it was me with, like, Jeff Hardy. It was me with, like, 1, 2, 3 Kid. It's like, it's crazy to see, because he's been around wrestling all his life. But for him to still really care about certain people in wrestling is awesome to me, because he still, like, appreciates the craft and appreciates the work that wrestlers put in.
Final one, is there anyone in particular, or it's hard to pinpoint one person, but who are you geeking out most meeting this weekend and just being around? Because it's people from your era, the Attitude Era, the current era right now, the Ruthless Aggression Era.
I was in the van from the airport with Scott Steiner yesterday. I just got to ask him about WrestleMania 9, and that was the coolest thing ever, because I've never been able to ask him about WrestleMania 9. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to fucking do it. That was my favorite WrestleMania as a kid, because it looked different. It was cool. It was Caesar's Palace. Watching it now, it is so bad. WrestleMania 9 is not good. But I had to ask Scott Steiner about WrestleMania 9. And he goes, it was a fucking shit show. And I go, this is the best. This is like, I like asking the random questions. Like, I want to ask Rikishi about the Sultan. I want to ask Rikishi about when he was New Generation Fatu. I want to ask him about that. I don't want to ask him about stink faces and that. And I don't want to ask him about, I don't care. I want to know about the Sultan, and about if he still has that gear, if he still has the mask, all of that. That's like, because that's what I was a fan of, the random stuff. Mm-hmm. I loved the random stuff. So that's when I got to ask Scott Steiner about WrestleMania 9. Even again, after being around him so much, I never like got to ask him, or I don't care anymore. I'm just gonna ask these people, because we're all fans. We wouldn't be doing this. We would not be doing this if we weren't fans of wrestling. I love it. I love it. This weekend's awesome.
100%. We're all massive fans of wrestling, myself included, and it is a weekend to geek out and appreciate this amazing sport.
You get to have fun and be around other fans. That's the coolest thing about this weekend, is we're all surrounded by each other.
Amazing. I really appreciate your time. It was a pleasure speaking to you.